We'll get this thing fired up, run it through again. Welcome everybody to the place where the ball never drops, the music never stops, and the party goes on and on. That's right, folks. You are now rocking with Goobz Radio in the Party Mansion. My name is Ricky Ticky, and I will be your MC this evening during the Party Mansion's first ever Synth-Wave party. So we went ahead, we got you guys already set up in the chat. They got the main chat, they got the attic, the basement, the VIP lounge for Goobz owners exclusively. So get up in there, drop your gifts, drop your emojis, keep them coming. And this evening during the party, there will be two guest speakers. Our first guest is a renowned Cadence programmer and the founder of Emerald City DAO. That's right, everyone. Tonight on the main stage, we will have Jacob Tucker. He'll be here to talk about the hackathon coming up next week on Flow. And after Jay Tucker, there will be a special appearance from the mad scientist mind behind the Party Mansion. That's right, Erick White. And he'll talk about the artwork he's providing for the hackathon. So we got the hackathon going on next week. We got the Party Mansion going on tonight, the Synth-Wave party. And I want to thank everyone for joining in. I'm going to turn on about 2 minutes of tunes, and then we're going to break into the first segment of the Goobz Radio Party Show. Everybody, welcome back to the Synth-Wave party on Goobz Radio. Before we get rolling again, here's a quick word from our sponsors for this evening's party. The first sponsor is Jimbo's AMAs. The Jimbo's AMAs YouTube channel is the home of over 30 full-length interviews featuring the leaders of the Flow community. Jimbo speaks in depth with pioneers of the Web3 industry to keep you in the loop on the development of the Flow ecosystem. Search Jimbo's AMAs on YouTube. That's Jimbo's AMAs on YouTube, and stay up to date with new AMAs by subscribing to the channel today. All right, guys. Next week begins the International Flow Hackathon. Now, the Goobz aren't really known for the computer hacking skills, mainly because they're often a little too blasted to maneuver the keyboard. So tonight, in honor of the hackathon, the Party Mansion has prepared a list of the top 10 reasons why drunken Goobz should not attempt hacking. Let's go with number one. Number one, they might accidentally try to hack their own computer instead of their friends. Number two, they might type in their password incorrectly too many times and lock themselves out of their own computer. Number three, they might accidentally delete important files while trying to access them. Number four, they might start chatting with their computer, thinking it's their friend. Number five, they might accidentally broadcast their hacking attempt to everyone on their social media accounts. Number six, they might accidentally send private information to the wrong person. Number seven, they might fall asleep in the middle of their hacking attempt and forget what they were doing. Number eight, they might mistake the shutdown button for the hack button and shut down the entire system. Number 9, they might try to hack into a computer that doesn't even exist. Number 10, they might end up accidentally ordering a pizza online instead of hacking into their friend's computer. Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Synth-Wave party tonight. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for listening in. We're going to keep the tunes rolling for another 7 minutes. If y'all want to get up into the chat room and chat with Erick, you got your time to shine. Right meow. Thanks again for listening in. Erick, you still kicking, man?
You know it. I was over here internally laughing because I think I'm guilty of doing more than one of those Goobz fails you talked about.
Oh man.
So people.
My biggest one is falling asleep.
Oh man, I wish that was one of my biggest things. My Goob ass knows just keep on party rocking. I could just function on 2 hours of sleep on multiple days.
Oh man. I try to get like 10 to 12 hours of sleep, bro.
You lucky duck.
Fuck that shit. I go to bed like a 9, man. I'm too old. I shouldn't even be talking in the party hour. Going to bed at 9.
What? This party ain't even started yet.
Yo, I shifted my bedtime for tonight.
At least get it going down.
The party chat is where it's at.
No lie though, I locked myself out of my debit card about 2 weeks ago because I straight up forgot the PIN. I don't know if anyone else is guilty of this, but ever since we started that like tap to pay, I straight up never used my PIN no more, and I forgot it.
Damn.
It was embarrassing, so I blamed it on my daughter and left.
Yeah.
Floor
796.
Oh, dude, that is the most wicked project I've seen out there. It's not an NFT project, and I did not reach out to him. But yeah, that shit is so fire. You got to, man. When they're young, you can blame so much on them.
Blame your farts on the kid.
She claims them, so it works. I'm pretty sure I created a float for this event.
Yeah, man.
I gotta go find that piece.
You need the link. Drop the link, bro.
You do need a link.
Drop the link in the chat. Let them get at it.
Yo, dude, it's so cool. If y'all haven't checked it out, I'm gonna tell y'all right now. That floor 796 is a wicked cool project.
Where's the basement? I'm feeling Red Hot Monday.
Drop it in there.
Locked out of the basement.
Hey, you locked out.
Fight for the basement. I'm locked out, man.
Everybody locked. Fuck it. This is how it goes.
The basement has come to the party chat. I'm Red Hot Monday in the party chat.
Red Hot Mondays.
In motorcycle one. There you go. Can't see the bike that well, but it's there.
What is there? You know it is. Yeah, so if you're listening, something that the Mustachos are bringing to the events here is Red Hot Mondays. And Red Hot Mondays is you drop anything that's red hot on Monday. So whatever that is, it just has to be red and it has to be hot. We ain't on Monday.
Back into it. Welcome to the Synth-Wave party on Goobz Radio. Before we get rolling again, here's another word from our sponsors. Some argue that a t-shirt is just a t-shirt. Just a t-shirt? Well, with the Flow Hackathon approaching, there is only one tee that stands out high above the rest. That is more than just a t-shirt. In fact, you should not code without this t-shirt for the hackathon. You should not sit in front of your computer without this t-shirt. I'm talking, of course, about the Party Mansion themed Flow Hackathon t-shirt with artwork from the generational artist Erick White. Get yours today and make sure you're properly dressed the next time you sit in front of the computer. But wait, that's not all. 99% of hackers who wore this t-shirt while writing Cadence noticed an improvement in their performance immediately. Don't mess around. Don't wait any longer. Get your Party Mansion themed hackathon t-shirt today. Let's keep the party rolling, y'all. Right now we got a outside correspondent on the line. He is actually right now downstairs in the basement with the Mustachos. We got Zippos. I'm tuning into Zippos right now. Zippos, can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Ricky, I can hear you just fine.
All right, Zippo. So you're in the basement right now about to do a poetry battle with the Mustachos. I understand that correctly?
Yes, sir, Mr. Ricky. It's about to go down.
All right, so guys on Goobz Radio, let's go ahead and listen to this poetry competition going down in the basement right now as we speak.
There once was a party so swell, where dogs came to dance and to yell. With synths blaring loud, they drew quite a crowd, as they boogied and partied like hell.
Ooh. Oh, Zippos. It sounds like they're booing you down there in the basement. What do they have to say to you about that, what you just told them?
Well, Mr. Ricky Ticky.
Oh, here we go. We got the Mustachos coming on the stage. Here they go with their reply to Zippos. There once were some skulls, oh so mean, who lived in a dark basement unseen. They cackled and laughed as their schemes were hatched. A more sinister group you've not seen. Oh, Zippos, did you survive that burn? Hello, Zippos? Well, Zippos is not getting back to me, and I just got word that the burn unit from the Party Mansion Clinic is on its way down to the basement. This is MC Ricky Ticky. Let's hope Zippos is doing all right. You are rocking with the Goo Party Mansion radio show. We'll take another break now and come back and be joined by Mr. Jacob Tucker himself at 8:30.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
Ooh, drop the float. Synth-Wave party hour.
The
There we
password,
go.
not what you think it is, because I thought that might be a problem. It was too long.
You got a hint for us?
Do I got a hint? You know I don't.
You typed it in, bro.
It's two words, no space.
2 words, no spaces.
Hmm.
Based off the clues from Twitter.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
So we're gonna get
Uh,
there though.
Oh, we gonna get there for sure. We hop on over. We get into 2030s, 2029 right now. I want to go ahead and welcome to the stage as soon as my electronic device wants to work with me here. I want to go ahead and welcome to the stage the founder of the Emerald City DAO, that is the first DAO on the Flow blockchain. This man graduated summa cum laude from Northwestern University. He is best known as the Cadence Whisperer. We have Jacob Tecker on the stage right now. Jacob, how are you doing today?
Hey Ricky, thanks for the intro. I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. So we're just gonna hop right into this, man. You are known for being able to write cadence in the Flow community. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Started about I would
Cool.
say almost like 2 years ago at this point. Back in 2020, and just been doing it ever since. Yeah.
All right, awesome. So now we're at the party mansion, so we do things a little differently around here. I just want to get into this real quick. So I want to know if you have any rituals for coding. So in movies, I see people, slamming Mountain Dews and chomping on Doritos. Is there anything you have to have with you when you're coding?
That's a really funny question. Yeah, I would say like lo-fi is definitely a must. I usually have like lo-fi going, either lo-fi girl on YouTube, or I just like put on some sort of Discord music bot. That's definitely something I do. Or Chipotle is another one. That's like the only thing I eat nowadays. And I just chill, and I'm currently living at home, so I just chill at home, and sometimes my brother or sister will come annoy me. But other than that, that's really all I do.
Nice. So if let's say you get a nice big Chipotle burrito, how many words per minute do you think you can type when you have that energy behind you?
Oh, probably a billion. I'm
A
like,
billion.
yeah, infinite
Awesome.
powers when I have that going. Yeah.
All right, man. So a little known fact about you, you were a doorman at an inn before you entered the Flow community. And how did your time at the inn prepare you for interacting with the community that you have now on Flow?
Yeah, you know what's actually interesting? I gotta give it to you, Ricky. This out of all the AMAs and interviews I've done, this is by far the coolest question I think I've ever gotten. Um, just because, like, I've never really talked about this, but um, I don't know. That was actually a couple years ago. When I was in high school, it was the first ever job I really had. And yeah, I was super nervous. I think I was like 15 or 16, super nervous at the time, and I was working at this like really high end inn in this like sort of wealthy area, and so it was like very nerve wracking for me because I was kind of out of my element. And on the job, I was a very shy kid. I've sort of grown out of it now, but was used to be very shy. And so having to check people in, cater to people, it was very nerve wracking for me. But it taught me to be a lot more social, and it also taught me a lot about work ethic. Because this it was so crazy. Like I couldn't even say certain words because I couldn't say like no problem. I couldn't say yeah. I couldn't say guys, because these were all like just things that were a part of the job. And so it taught me to communicate better, and it taught me to just I guess to interact with people and converse with people in a much better way. So I think that prepared me a lot for the YouTube videos and education stuff I do in the Flow ecosystem.
Right, right. So you had that going for you, and then you take those skills you learn as the doorman at an inn, and you head over to Northwestern University. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. So I think I was a doorman my sophomore year of high school, I think, and then
Okay.
I went to Northwestern a couple years later.
Okay. And you were there studying actually C++. plus plus.
Right.
So I want to ask, what's that?
Yeah, yeah, you're totally right.
Right. So you go from C++ plus plus, and then you move over and you start seeing Solidity. But let me just get it like this. Did you start C++? Plus plus? Is that your first programming language? And where did it kind of span out from there? What other languages did that get you into?
So I would say my first programming language, which I would recommend to anybody trying to get started, was actually HTML and CSS, which are both like they're deemed web development or front end languages. They're basically what you use to code websites. And I started learning that in high school in like ninth grade, and did all that through high school. A little bit of Java, but if you're getting into coding, never ever try Java. It's hideous. And then I got to Northwestern, and that's where things got a little bit more theoretical, a little bit more complicated. And I studied a lot of C++ in college, a lot of JavaScript, and also C, because we went down like a sometimes at university, like we went down like a very low level coding route, to try and like just understand the basics. So I got all those languages kind of. I learned a lot about all those, and then I joined a club that was about blockchain, and that's where I started to learn Solidity. It wasn't even in a class; it was just a couple of kids and me who were all in a club together, and they were like, "Oh, blockchain's cool." This was like 4 years ago, and that I started to learn Solidity through them.
Right, right. And you mentioned that Solidity is one of the more complex languages, I believe, and that's because of the readability of it compared to Cadence per se, which would have an easier read than a Solidity. Can you comment on the differences you see between those two languages?
Totally. So, I think like you got to give it to the Solidity a little bit. It was the pioneer. It was sort of the first smart contract language out there that was really popular, and so there are a lot of cool things about that. But the way that Cadence was designed, it was designed to make Solidity. It was designed to make smart contracts easier. So that has always been at the forefront of Cadence and how they made Cadence. Part of how they did that was they coded the language in a way that makes sense for users. So in Solidity, what I mean by that is in Solidity, your NFTs or all your assets are actually stored inside the smart contract. But that's sort of weird, in the Cadence world or in the Flow world, all of your assets are actually stored in your account. So you have true ownership over your assets. Um, and that makes sense, right? Just from a theoretical standpoint. So the fact that it's architected and designed like that in code also makes things a lot easier, and makes it harder for developers to mess up code. And I'll give you an example. Sometimes in Solidity, when users are transferring NFTs back and forth, all it is it's a number in a contract. It just says NFT one belongs to Ricky, right? So it just says one and then arrow to Ricky. And so when you're transferring NFTs, you have to make sure that you get rid of that and then assign that number to somebody else. It's a little bit confusing. However, in the Cadence world, they actually represent assets or NFTs as objects in code, and you have to explicitly move that object around into different people's accounts. So, one, you make sure that you never duplicate that asset. You make sure you never lose that asset, and whoever owns that asset actually has it in their account, and so it makes it a lot easier to discover. Those are a few things that I find, but I could talk about this forever.
Wow, that was a masterclass on NFTs and digital assets on the blockchain. So I'm just curious right now, how long did it take you to figure out that you would rather work with Cadence once you started writing in that language?
Yeah, so I started writing in Cadence. Again, it was like the summer of like 2020, and I think that the first time I ever coded in Cadence, I was like, all right, that's it. I'm never coding in Solidity again, and I sort of stuck by that. I would say when I got my first job, my first like software or blockchain job, I was working at this company named Beastology, and I was sort of a Solidity and Cadence developer there. So I had to sort of relearn Solidity a little bit, even after I started learning Cadence. But even then, I always it was like the jump was immediate. It wasn't like a slow process. Once I started learning Cadence, that was sort of it.
Awesome, awesome. And then, so you pick up Cadence, and how long after that does that become the Emerald City DAO? What steps happened in between there to get you to be a founder of the Emerald City DAO?
Right. So it's sort of like a longer journey. So I apologize if this answer is a bit longer. But essentially, what happened was, I was coding in Cadence. I was working a full-time job, just as a Cadence and Solidity dev. Was also learning some other languages at the time, but whatever. And slowly, I started to release a lot of educational content. And the reason for that was because at the time I didn't realize that Cadence was not known by a lot of people, and I also didn't realize that there was such a huge demand for learning Cadence. So I was like, wait a minute, maybe there's like a huge opportunity here to just teach people about Cadence. And I've always been, I love teaching. In college, I was, I always, taught classes, was like a teaching assistant. I just have a huge passion for it. So I was like, you know what? If I find it so fun, why not just release some YouTube videos? So one day I made a video, just like it was like a intro to Cadence course, and I started making YouTube videos for like months. And I saw that people were like commenting on my videos and liking them, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is so cool!" To see that people are actually finding this content really helpful. And slowly, I got put into this like educational role or this like community, like evangelist role, where I was advocating for Cadence. And so I loved that I was getting a lot of attention through that. The YouTube channel was going well. And also, I was still working that job. And BZ, who's actually here right now, which is really funny. One day we were in office hours together, and I was helping BZ with something, and he said, "Well, why don't you just start a DAO where you sort of combine your educational material and all the side projects you're building in the Flow world, and just make it like a community-run organization where everyone comes together and just code stuff together." And I was like, "That's a really good idea." So that day, after that office hours, I made a Discord, and BZ was the first person to join, and that I guess the rest was history.
Wow, that is an amazing story. Thank you for sharing that. So
Yeah.
you start the Emerald City DAO with basically an educational guild, or it was built off of the educational guild of the DAO, but there are two other guilds to the Emerald City DAO. Can you go ahead and name what those two are?
For sure, yeah. So this is an interesting question because when Emerald City first started, we had an educational guild that was like my YouTube channel, all that stuff. We had a building guild, which was like where developers could come in and join and code and all that kind of stuff. And then we also had a governance guild, which was our way of trying to basically pioneer DAOs on the Flow blockchain. And see what were DAOs doing wrong in the Solidity world or in the Ethereum world, and what can we do better here on Flow. And at first, we were actually very, very wrapped up in the governance guild. We were having conversations every day, hours on end, talking about DAOs and stuff like that. But over time, Emerald City slowly became much stronger in the educational and building guilds. And actually, even like nowadays, the governance guild doesn't really exist anymore. And we've sort of merged Emerald City into just like Emerald Academy, which used to be our educational guild, and our building guild has sort of just become Emerald City as a whole, where it's just developers and people working together. So the way we structure our DAO has been a very iterative process, but I'm happy where we've brought it to.
Awesome. So let's just give this 30 seconds. And I want to say, theoretically, what would a governance guild on a blockchain, what function would it serve within 30 seconds?
I would say a function that the governance guild would serve is figuring out how do you represent reputation in a DAO, right? How do you give people credit for contributing? And also, how do you manage the guild in such a way that the leaders of the DAO are, acting properly? And how do you give community members a way of, voting on who's doing well and putting people in positions of power?
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, we got our man over here, Eric. Eric, can you hear me? Is your mic on, Eric?
I can hear you. What is up,
All right,
guys?
Eric,
Hey, Eric.
what's up, man?
What's up, Jacob?
Hey.
We got Eric, and Eric has a question on the hackathon. So, Jacob, I'm kind of throwing a wrench at you here. We're going to say the hackathon coming up next week, that Eric has the questions for these ones. And Eric, go ahead and shoot, man. What you got?
Oh, of course. All right, so Jacob, I was going through my memory banks here, and I was like, what am I going to ask this guy? What am I going to talk to him about? And if you remember any of our conversations, I don't know anything about coding, and I don't think I care to know more about coding. But what I would want to know is what the fuck is a hackathon? Like, when I watched Swordfish back in the 90s, hacking was bad. Like,
Yeah.
you were trying to hack into something and steal some other people's data. Now they have these new concepts called hackathon, and I was running through my brain, and I'm like, what does it mean? And I knew you'd be the man that would nail it down for me.
Yeah, yeah, I'll definitely do my best. Yeah, that's a great question. I've never thought about it like that. Because to me, like hackathon is so native, to, like, because I sort of like got my footing in coding through hackathons, but I never thought about it from like a point of view like that. It sounds weird, doesn't it? Like it sounds like people are hacking something. But
Yeah,
essentially, a hackathon is really just it's a set period of time where developers come together and all compete to build something. That something usually varies between different hackathons. It could be who can build the best website. It can build who can build the best Flow application. In this case, on their website, they have a bunch of different what they call tracks, and this is very common with hackathons. Is they give competitors different tracks they can go down, and they specify
Hmm.
money amounts for each track. So, for example, if you go down, who can build the best .find application, and we're offering 10 grand for this track, users can compete for that, and they know the prize amount if they win. So that's usually how a hackathon's layered out. It's just people building it together, and they give you different options for what to build.
So why don't they call it a build-a-thon? Is it
Honestly,
just lame? Or
I get honestly probably because I think it's lame. I don't know why. I guess they just like the term hacking. I don't honestly. I'm not really sure. I'm sure there's some history there as to why it's called that.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, hacking does sound way more cooler.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel
Exactly.
like I'm about to break into something and about to push the limits. And so, okay, so let's say people are gonna build upon find. So, can you express to me what that means if someone's going to build on top of Emerald City DAO? Are they going to expand the concepts of floats? Are they going to expand the concept of fine names? So, what do you mean when people build on top?
Yeah, that's a great question too. Usually what that means is, and I'll take a step back really quick and just so the reason why you'll see this term building on top of a lot in the blockchain space is because this is part of what they call composability of code. So composability is where you basically take some code and you write some other code that interacts with that code, but just makes it better or does something new, stuff like that. One example is, Floaty, right? Floaty supports renting
Hmm.
and borrowing of NBA Top Shot moments. That's a perfect
Hmm.
example of building on top of NBA Top Shot and just adding features or making it cooler and stuff like that. And blockchains love composability because that's the whole sort of premise or argument for smart contracts is that it's all
Hmm.
public code, it's all out there. You can compose contracts together, you can build on top of them. So I guess like the 10-second answer is building on top of usually means adding some other piece of code that just makes the previous code better or adds some new feature.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, I appreciate that response.
Yeah.
Now,
So,
what is going to be your next big step? Do you think toucans are going to land people in jail?
That's an awesome question. Um, no, I don't think so. I think that first of all, we're still exploring that a little bit. I actually I know I think it was you, Eric, right, that actually left a comment on a Twitter post that we had made a couple months ago. Really appreciated that. But yeah, we're initially going to be launching toucans with community tokens, which means that there's going to be nothing financial going on in the platform. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, so we're still exploring that. I won't get into that too much, just because we're still just trying to make sure that we're not putting people at risk or anything like that. One good news is that we have seen platforms like this in the EVM world. For example, Juicebox, if you've ever heard of that, where people are crowdsourcing um, projects in EVM, and so we're trying to replicate Juicebox in the Flow world, and hoping
Hmm.
that because it's possible over there, that it should be possible here as well.
All right, and that's pretty exciting. And I say that in a joking manner because this is something that I'm really interested in, but also I'm really afraid of.
Totally understand. Totally understand.
Because right, because once you start getting into fungible tokens, unlike the non-fungies, there, all of a sudden you start dealing with securities, and there's all of a sudden new tax laws and new areas you have to be mindful of. And we had reached out because I would love to be able to stake goobs and then you get like bones or something. Kind of like Flovitar is doing for with their dust token, which I think is a fun concept. And I'd love to implement it. And these are some of these hurdles that I would really like to kind of, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Figure out
Yeah.
as we move forward. Because I feel like these are going to be the hurdles that might also hinder in projects too. Because people might jump in feet first and just create a token, fund it, and all of a sudden the SEC is on their doorstep.
Yeah, it's super interesting. I'm not, to be honest, I'm not too good at like the legal stuff. I try and leave that to others who know so much more than I do. But I
Yeah.
do know that the SEC, I think actually very recently, the SEC ruled that issuing and selling on secondary markets is not a security. So I believe that allows DAOs
Ooh.
and any community to much more safely issue fungible tokens. But
Okay.
other than that, that's just what I've heard from people that are much, much smarter than me. But I do need to do some more research on my own. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think it's anyone smarter, just different areas of expertise, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I mean, you came in and you have built so much for the Flow ecosystem. And I was listening to also your podcast with El Dumbo not too long ago, which was an amazing podcast. I mean, I feel like y'all deep dived into a lot of different topics, and you've had a pretty rich history. And then Ricky came in and even lit it up even more today. So thanks for coming in and chatting with us about all these different concepts.
Of course, yeah, super super happy to do this, and yeah, I mean, I love the whole idea behind it, Eric, that you shared with me was is super touching. I'm not sure if you shared that with everyone else here, but it was awesome to hear about their university and all that.
Yeah. And for y'all listening that didn't quite know, whenever I was in college, so there was this place called Avogadro's Number, and it was a pizza joint just north of the university where you would go there and you'd grab a pizza. And in one room, they would have like professors giving speeches about different topics that they were interested in. And in the back, they had like an open stage for bands to play. And so the goal of the Party Mansion over the coming weeks is to upgrade our image from just a drunken fest, which is amazing. And I do plan on drinking more beers as we progress through the evening. But I'd like I'd like to find a little bit of a dynamic where also we bring some educational formats to the platform where we're growing and developing as collectors, as artists, as creators, as builders, and then we party afterward.
Hmm.
So yeah.
I love that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Eric, for hopping in there and throwing your questions at Jacob. Jacob, before we get you off the stage, man, I got just a couple more questions for you. You got time for a couple more
Yeah, of
questions?
course.
All right, man. So here we go. Next one is going to be, if there are not already, do you see other blockchains utilizing the ease of the Cadence programming language?
Mm, super interesting. I would say I hope so. And I truly believe that the main reason I fight for Flow is because I love Cadence so much. So I hope that other chains sort of dive into Cadence and utilize it. Although honestly, I'm not sure how that would work. Using something like Cadence on EVM is currently impossible. Um, so I don't know, but I would love to see that.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. And
Well, I mean, could they realistically do that? Because I mean, Fine Team really built a bridge to Ethereum, but it doesn't mean Ethereum can necessarily speak to Cadence, does it? I mean, it's just signatures and handshaking, as Bjarte was explaining to me.
Yeah, that's the thing is that there's no such thing as cross-chain communication. Usually that's done in the form of like what you call an oracle, which is where you can
Hmm.
read outside data into your smart contract language. But it doesn't currently exist, and I believe I could be wrong, but I believe what the dot find team did, or Biartech did with Doodles was basically just like rewrote the contract, the Doodles NFT contract in Cadence. But as far as I know,
Uh,
it's not possible to communicate outside of the Flow world in Cadence.
oh,
you know,
interesting,
now that
interesting.
you've said that, it's a really a good question because I don't know how the oracle works either. And now, because I know he's used that terminology with me, and sometimes whenever Biarte starts talking to me, my eyes kind of glaze over because I get confused because
Yeah,
his knowledge base far or exceeds my level of comprehension on databases.
yeah.
And so he was expressing to me these different types of ways they did the handshakes, and I'm going to touch base with him, and I'll get back to you because I feel like that's something that's going to be moving our the Flow ecosystem further is more handshake deals by bringing Ethereum projects to Flow.
Definitely, that's how a lot of that's how a lot of tech ends up getting set up, right? Is someone like Doodles comes into the space, and all of a sudden, everyone realizes that there's a lack of tooling or tech, and so people step in to develop that stuff. I personally, I think it's going to be a very long time before oracles are developed in Cadence. But
Okay.
that doesn't mean that there can't be awesome tooling, like I'm sure Bjartek has developed, to have some backend system where he's communicating in Flow and EVM.
All right.
Awesome.
I'll throw it back to
All right.
Ricky.
All right, everybody. We're here at the Party Mansion. This is Goobz Radio. At the Synth-Wave party tonight, we have our guest, Jacob Tucker. Jacob, another question for you. How do you see the future of NFT artwork on Flow and on other blockchains?
Also a good
Oh,
question.
this is a,
You know,
can I interject?
yes, please.
Wait, this is going to be a great question because on the last podcast, Jacob he talked about how his disgust. What? You can't hear me.
I can hear you.
I can hear you just fine, brother.
My wife was telling me she could hear me, but she often can't hear me. I feel like she just chooses not to hear me. Okay, but Jacob was talking about how he has disgust for NFTs. Not disgust, but like he was tired of working with them.
Okay.
So I'm really interested to hear where he goes with this because you were talking about how you were really interested in increment phi, right?
Yeah. So
Or was it?
it's a really that's so funny you brought that up, Eric. Yeah, it's a tough question, right? Because it's like I I believe that like I separate the community from like the tech of NFTs themselves, right? I am sick of, or quote unquote sick of, NFT technology, and the reason for that is because you can imagine that like I basically just spend all day long working with NFTs, improving the NFT standard in Cadence, all that kind of stuff. But I do absolutely
Yep.
love communities like Goobz and all the stuff you guys are doing. Um, so it's difficult. I know it's sort of a lame answer, but honestly, I have no idea, and that's the truth. I don't know what is going to happen to artwork in Flow or outside in other chains. I'm sort of waiting for someone to show me what the next step is, and I guess that's why I sort of take the cop out route and just go to DeFi, because DeFi is something that is so new in Flow that it's really interesting for me to solve those tech problems and try and discover how DeFi is possible in Flow, rather than just continually working on NFTs, which I do basically all day. So I guess that's why I'm interested in DeFi at the moment. But I am waiting for people to show me what's possible with NFTs.
What's
Awesome.
mind blowing right there when you said is like DeFi was easy for you. Now, just the terminology, decentralized finance, almost overwhelms me.
Yep.
I'm like, because I sit there and I'm like, well, what does that mean? What is decentralized finance? And I know the concept of like loaning NFTs and getting your loan for your currency, but there's all these new avenues we could approach, and that just seems like a huge encompassing topic. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go back to drawing. But I love that there's people out there like you that go, you know what? No, we need to push this further. We need to say decentralized finance is the future of Flow. Because I've heard from other parties that Flow isn't a great chain to build decentralized finance concepts. Is that true?
It is true, and that's because, like, actually, we were just talking about oracles and how those don't exist on Flow. That is a big reason why DeFi is so difficult in Flow right now. One example is there's an oracle where inside of this smart contract code, there's a way to, look at a token's price. So, for example, when someone goes to swap tokens, the smart contract is able to say, you know what, one Flow token is currently equal to 5 FUSD, right? However, right now in Cadence, those oracles don't exist. That information isn't available. So it makes DeFi actually very difficult right now.
So, do you have any interest in building oracles?
I do, but I'm definitely not good enough for that yet. I think Bjartek, that might be. I don't even know if that's up his alley, but it's something that I'm still relatively new to, like complicated code like that, and I wouldn't be able to
Mhm.
figure it out. But it definitely interests me.
Yeah, I
Challenge
bet.
accepted.
Yeah.
Build an
Well, I've
oracle.
heard
Awesome.
right. I've heard
You,
Ricky's actually been taking part in some of those boot camp courses, and that's freaking amazing.
Nice, Ricky.
it's written so well. It's written so well that it's just so easy to follow along.
Oh, that means a
We
lot. I
got,
appreciate that.
oh, dude, yeah, totally enjoy it. And it's nice to see the Emerald City community, everybody in there, and they're asking questions. And I believe in your chat right now, you have like a paragraph and a half worth of questions. It's fantastic to see. And the community over there is Absolutely amazing. They have solutions. If you go in there, if you have questions to Cadence, just go over there, and the community usually reaches out and gets with us. All right, so we got 1 minute left. I got one last question. Tonight is a party, and I think everybody is dying to know what your adult beverage of choice is so that they can get you a drink the next time they see you. Can you fill us in on
A
that?
whiskey sour. That's definitely my go-to.
Whiskey
Yeah,
sour.
love that.
Do you know how is that
Nice.
concocted?
I believe it's just like I think it's just like whiskey and then like a little bit of like lemonade or like just like a lemon or something just to like make it a little nicer. I always love that. Although I also last night ordered an old fashioned and I wasn't too big of a fan of it, but I tried it. My friend's a huge fan.
Awesome. All right, so if you guys see Jacob Tucker around anywhere, make sure you get him a whiskey sour for coming on Goobz Radio. Thank you so much, Jacob, for joining us, and I wish you a good rest of your day.
Thanks so much, Ricky. This was great, and thanks to you too, Eric.
Yep. Later.
For sure.
Bye.
All right, we're gonna have a 5 minute break now. Play some synthwave tunes, hop into the chats, get your gifts on, get your emojis on, get it rolling. Let's go. Take a 5 minute break, and we're coming back with a interview of Erick White. He's gonna talk about different things going on in the mansion, what's coming up next, and is that a t-shirt? Yes, Eric did drop a t-shirt. Eric, could you go ahead and just drop that link up in the main chat for your t-shirt? This dude is an artist. I don't even want to know what's going on in his head, but the t-shirt is hot. You guys should go check it out. Pick up the merch. It's the Flow Hackathon t-shirt with the party mansion edge to it. Let's take it now a 4 minute break before we get into it with Eric.
Yes, we shall launch off into the party.
Boom, 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 boom.
If anyone wants to unmute and chat for a minute, that's cool too with me.
Hell yeah. It is 21:05 Central European Time. You are now listening to Goobz Radio. We got Erick White on the stage, and he's requesting if y'all want to open up those mics, shoot him a question. It's good to go. Let him hear your voice. Let him know how you're doing.
Ah, Jesus.
Erick, I got some questions for you, man. First of all,
I don't know if I'm
when
gonna
did you
answer.
start getting into synthwave music?
Oh, that's a great question. When did I start getting the synthwave? It was probably about 6 months ago. Did we just lose our
Okay.
synthwave music? Dude, tempo just straight up left.
Ooh, there he goes. There's tempo.
All right, let me get it.
And
Let me get it. Let's just jump right into it.
yeah, 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 man. So I feel like the party mansion is an extension of yourself, Erick, and your different interests and moods. And would you mind sharing? I guess you talked about it a little bit when you were talking with Jacob about, you went to that place across the street from your school and they had different rooms, and you see the party mansion is kind of expanding like that. Talk about the expansion of the mansion and how it relates to different moods or different feelings that you have throughout the day, just living your life and things like that.
Yeah. So, uh, you know, I had a lot of mixed feelings when I was creating the goobs because, I am a goob at heart. So I have this. I have. I really have ADHD, just like any goob would, and I bounce around. I have a lot of different ideas. I like chasing different concepts. I really just enjoy kind of like living life to its fullest. And when I created the Goobs, they were just one character. So what I wanted to do was an expansion of that because I created them, and as soon as I created the Goobs, I felt confined to the Goobs, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So I I created them, and I was like, well, now I identify with a Goob. And if you know my personality, you know me. All of a sudden, I have this piece where I felt like I was confined to this one role, and I had to break free from it already. And so I started immediately creating the Mustachos because I had to create something that was just vastly different from the Goobs because I didn't want to identify, and I know most people in this world don't identify as one simple character. We're developing creatures. We have moods of light and dark, right? And so I started going through these ideas and these concepts, and I started thinking, well, how am I going to create this world? Because I wanted the party mansion and the party groups to be bigger than just any one character. If you've watched any adult comics like Futurama, Simpsons, etc., they have all these different character bases in different worlds and different ecosystems. So I started looking at that and thinking how I was going to bring this into the party mansion. How am I going to expand on these ideas? And that leads me to today, where we have three new characters in the mansion, all kind of like simultaneously in a goob fashion, just unraveling before us. So yeah, I hope that answered your question because I am like a goob at heart, and sometimes I do just kind of want to go with the feel and the vibes that we're fed.
So, yeah. And would you consider yourself at, in its purest form, an artist who wants to just share different artwork collections? Is that a way you would describe yourself, or how would you get anywhere near describing that kind of persona or that kind of way of life that you lead?
Uh, that's a great question, Ricky. And so I'm really kind of looking at myself as an artist on where I want to take this project and push it further. And as an artist, I want to create a world. I don't want to create a simple character with a simple concept. I want conflict, and conflict requires differences of opinion. So when you have the goobs, if you think of a goob character, they're really here to have have fun, have a party, interact with one another. And then you have the squirrels up top where they're having these mastermind creations being built. And then you have the mustachos coming in and they're angry, they're upset. You don't know what they're doing. And so I want layers of different concepts being implemented into our world.
Wow, awesome, awesome. And basically, we were talking with Jacob about the hackathon. And as far as the hackathon goes, what kind of artwork did you work on for that project?
Yeah, so I kind of imagine I yes, I know what you're getting at now. And so I had worked on this goob and I kind of imagined him in the basement trying to figure out the next code of what's happening. And yeah, so I created a hacking goob. Let's see, I will drop that image here. Let's see,
Right.
paste
And
it.
what I like most about this artwork right here is the back of the laptop. It's just like slapped with stickers. Did you go through and design each of those stickers individually?
No, so actually I own majority of those NFTs. The only one I don't quite own is I accidentally used the Flunks logo instead of my actual NFT from Flunks. But everything else, like the baller I own the Goobz, I own the Flovatar you see on the screen, the back of the screen, all that are my actual NFTs.
And so when you own it, like it's on your account on the blockchain, then you are licensed to use those images for graphics and things like that that you make?
Yeah, so I think every project is different, but for the most part, whenever you own an NFT, you're allowed to utilize that character however you see fit. So let's say you own a party Goobs with take the one in your profile picture. You could put that on a T-shirt because you own it, right? Now you can't take the party Goobs logo and implement that into your stuff because that stuff's copyrighted. But you own that character.
Oh,
And that's how
awesome, awesome.
most projects look at it. And so like Flovatar, they have a CCO type of mentality where if I own that Flovatar, I can put him on a shirt, I can do whatever I want with him, just like the Goobs, just like Flunks and all these other projects.
Awesome. So not only are you an artist though, but you're also getting into the graphic design niche. And I just want to ask just right from the jump, like how many hours of graphic design do you do a week? Because your stuff is off the charts.
I appreciate that. Yeah, so I kind of like fell into graphic design by accident. Um, because it was needed. So I started working with the Fine team, and they're creating all these interesting pieces and concepts that they need to get advertised out into the world. And same with the Goobs too. So to put in hours per week, I don't know, a lot, at least like 12. I go into graphic
Nice.
design.
Nice, nice. All right. And you're using different kinds of software. Are you how many kinds of software do you use for your graphic design work without having to say their names? Just what how many types or what
At
how
least four.
many? Four.
Four. Yeah.
Four. And what do you prefer? Do you prefer, having all the layers just labeled out? So let's say we have I'm just going to give you one PNG right now and it has several layers on it. Now there's like a Photoshop method that's going to have all your layers laid out and you can put like text and a shape in the same kind of layer, or you have like a
Mhm.
Canva method where it's kind of just right in front of you, but you have to go and move layers through individually. Like so you select the layer with your mouse and move it through individually. You get what I'm getting at here. What do you prefer doing, and how do you prefer moving through layers on like PNG images?
Oh. When I'm drawing, I draw on the iPad. Whenever I'm creating the only thing I guess I don't like doing is vector art. So something you find in
Okay.
Adobe Illustrator, that
Hmm.
overwhelms me. As soon as I start messing with vectors, I get bored and overwhelmed. I don't like them. But I've been trying to tackle that hurdle, started utilizing them more. But to navigate different layers, I try to just build depth into my pictures. So I don't like when images look flat. If you see one of my images, I want to feel like it's a 3D image on a 2D platform. And so that's usually the direction I go whenever I'm creating some kind of a new piece of design.
And real quick here, do you feel like you're talking about depth on a 2D image? Do you feel that shadows are necessary for both graphic design and NFT artwork per se, as far as trying to bring depth into your images? Are shadows always necessary, or how do you view those?
Um, so shadows are like one of the most important pieces to any artwork. Because shadows really dictate the 3D element. Because let's say you have, and I do this, and sometimes I'll create something and I'll draw an image and it sucks. And then once you add the shadows, you start seeing the true image itself because it allows your brain to kind of like process and realize it's a 3D image. So
Awesome.
yeah.
So let me just throw a whirlwind question at you right now. I'm gonna take you back. Before you got into NFTs, you were actually doing photography. Now, staying on the subject of lighting and shadows, what was the first thing you go out to a shoot? Are you looking at the lighting right away to kind of see what angles you would want to take your pictures?
Oh, of course. And so that's something that I really look at in so the study of light is pretty much art. If you're in art, it's really the study of light because you're always contemplating or considering where your light's coming from and how it's going to be reflecting off of your image. Because the better you can narrow down those questions, the more realistic, the better images you're going to get. Because you're right, I was doing photography and I was very early. I was an adept photographer, but I was looking at all these different images and I was like, okay, how am I going to create a decent looking photograph? And you have to consider where your light source is coming from at all times. So
Awesome.
yeah.
And the next part about artwork that I kind of want to ask you about while you're on the microphone is horizons. Now, I took like one art lesson, and the one art, my teacher, she told me, draw a horizon and everything goes to like a point on the horizon. What
Mhm.
what are your thoughts on horizons within images, and how do you utilize those?
Honestly, I suck at them. That's why I love cartoon art because cartoon art, you can create your own horizons and there can be different picture, like different areas where of focal focus points. So, but you're right. Like I work with another artist for specifically those areas. So with characters, I mean, you try to create where your eyeballs are going, but horizons really come in to their own when you're dealing with scenery. So whenever you're building out a scene is really when you're going to start needing these horizon points.
Awesome, awesome. And speaking of scenery, you've been in the works, scratch and claw and building away at a comic book. What are
Yeah,
your
that is.
initial thoughts on the comic book?
Oh, the comic book has been so much harder than I'd ever would have thought. Partially because I lost all time. So whenever, as an artist, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna draw all this," and I run into this scenario all the time. I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna create this picture. I'm gonna create that," and you know what gets in the way? It's just business operations. So all of a sudden, like my time to draw was like cut in half, and then in half again, and then half again. And so I'm wanting to create this comic book, and I just didn't have the time to commit to it like I wanted and how I envisioned it. But luckily, I ran it. I found this other artist, and I gave him my script and my storyline, and we're starting to create these pages now together where I can just write the story, give it to him. He sketches everything out for me, and then he passes it back to me. Then we discuss it. Then I make edits and give it to him, and then we're moving the comic book in that manner. So another concept I'm also kind of like um, going through right now is creating like a coloring book because I really like the idea of making an interactive piece with different activities for people to partake in. Because I was creating these color pages a while back, and I was getting feedback from the community that they really enjoyed them, and so that's kind of how I see the future of the storyline taking place is through this coloring book slash comic activity book.
Awesome, awesome. So let's just
Mm.
go ahead here and throw out some quarter numbers. All right. So let's talk comic book, coloring book. Could you today throw out a quarter number on when you see those things coming to the light of day?
Mm, well, already, I mean, you can already see in the garage. I think I dropped the fourth page. No, not the garage, the basement. I think this is the third page already. So yeah, the comic book is
Oh,
going to be
yes.
dropping like soon. So not the comic book, but like the comic pages are already starting to come together. And now what we're doing is having a consolidation. The script is written, the story is being unfolded, and now I have to find the time to put it together and disseminate it out into the public in a proper manner.
So you see these things, these pages, there's going to be individual pages of a comic book. So they're going to be like the first one's going to be page one that's dropping. And do you see that coming out as an NFT or how do you see that packaged?
Yeah, so whenever we initially launched the project, I thought that would be a great way to introduce the pages. And I'm not sure if that's still the best route anymore. I want to give everyone the option to collect them if they want, but I think I'm going to make them claimable rather than airdropping them. And that prevents people from just getting stuff in their wallets they might not want. And so, I really want to do is just really take the storyline further. Now, if it's necessary to put them on an NFT, we'll do that. But my main goal is to really move forward with the storyline. Last year was rather difficult with progressing the story due to some business issues we faced. Those are now clear and then we're able to move further faster now. But my main goal is to get the storyline moving forward.
Awesome. So let's move over to the next one. We got the attic, the squirrels, the nerds. What's a quarter number on that one when those would be dropping or be able to be minted?
It's the squirrel. Okay. Well, because I love the squirrels. I mean, I was tripping on mushrooms, legally tripping on mushrooms
Amen.
whenever the storyline was really starting to develop for the squirrels. Because I don't know if any of you know, but if you're looking at the Goobz collection, they have the Overlord. One of the assets for the headpiece is the Overlord. He's the alien. Like the green alien, he's in a little spaceship, kind of like controls the Goobz. One of my favorite pieces in there. Anyway, so he crashes into the top of the mansion, and all of a sudden he's bringing out this technology to the squirrels, and that's where we're really going to start seeing their story develop. But you're going to start seeing them in Q2.
Two. All right. And we got the last but definitely not least, the mustachos. What's going on over there? When do you see those bad boys coming out?
Okay, so the, exactly because the Mustachos are going to be dropping soon. Actually, I they were supposed to drop so long ago, but then I was offered to put them on Dapper Wallet. And for people who listening who don't know what that means is if you're going to put something on Dapper Wallet, it's kind of more controlled because originally built the Mustachos to be like an R-rated project within the mansion. I wanted them to say fuck. I wanted them to curse. I wanted them to be profane. I wanted them to be angry. I wanted them to be proper assholes. Now, that also limits your customer base and it kind of limits who can see them. And then it was brought to my attention that you can't really hide these things that you're putting out to the world. And what if kids start looking at your artwork? So I said, okay, I'll contemplate this. And they said, well, if you want to launch on Dapper, you need to reduce profanity from this collection. So already I was like, okay, I wanted to launch them already like this week or last week. But now I have to go through and cut out all the curse words and repopulate the collection. So I'm looking at maybe
Yeah.
like a week or two.
All right. All right. And
Yeah.
how much as an artist does it reach into your soul and rip it out when you know you're gonna have to do something like this? Like you had started out as an R-rated project and now you have to take it back a step in order just so you can get onto this Dapper wallet.
Well, it's interesting because I never really considered it as an issue up until I had this happen to me. Because you've heard about this happen with the movies, and a movie was rated
Hmm.
R, and then the publishers convinced the creators to make it PG-13,
Okay. Yeah.
and you don't realize like it does kind of suck. There's a piece of me that's still battling internally. I'm like, man, I don't want to take out the curse words. I feel like it makes the Musashos who they are. But at the same time, as a creator, you also have to make the biggest impact with your creations. And right now, truth be told, Dapper is the wallet to be on if you're going to be on Flow. I love the Deegan aspects of Blockdo. I like buying and trading in cryptocurrencies, but more and more projects are launching on the like Dapper wallet, and so I want to be a part of that action. So I will be taking the necessary steps to make it happen.
All right, man. But if screenshots of these R-rated Mustachos were to appear in the basement of a Discord channel, would that be something that would offend you or that would be offensive?
Oh hell no! We could definitely drop them in here. I just can't mint them.
So they do exist, people. You might be getting the PG-13 version on your Dapper wallet, but do know there is a hidden collection far, far away from the blockchain with explicit Mustachos. Eric, I got one more question for you, man. Talk to me about this t-shirt. What gave you the idea to put your Flow Hackathon artwork onto a t-shirt?
Man, that's a great question because I was at a field hockey game for my daughter. And so I'm watching her play field hockey, and all of a sudden I get like this overwhelming sense of a goober behind a keyboard, just like programming away. And he's a goob, so he doesn't quite know what he's programming, but like he was programming hardcore, and I had to bring that to life. And so I sat there, I was like, what does it look like? How do I bring this programming goob to the world? And that's what I came up with. And
Oh,
it was actually based on one of the goobs that the infamous Larga owns. If any of y'all know Larga, the name,
is he
he owns
the whale?
he
He
is
is the over whale.
he is the overwhelm. He has 198 goobs. I have no idea who he is. He's never said a single word in chat. All he does is collect goobs, and I love him for it. I mean, he is one of our biggest supporters. But the goob in that image was based off one of his goobs.
Awesome, man. This is awesome. So you put that on a t-shirt, and the link for the t-shirt is in the chat, guys. Go ahead, check that out. Get in
There's
there. If
actually a
you're gonna
lot
be, what's up?
there's actually a lot. I've actually put a couple images in there. So I have about, I think, 5
Oh,
T-shirts, I have like 6 or 7 stickers, and a mug
oh
on this.
snap.
Yeah, so I kinda, like,
Okay,
was
hold on. I'm
going to
about to hit
town.
the link. Let's see what we got on here, man. I'm hitting the link right now.
Yeah.
Partymansion.myshopify.com. Flow Hackathon t-shirt, $29.99 in team purple and black. They got sizes small, medium, large, extra large, double XL, 3XL. Man, you are not playing around. This
Dude,
is
and we
awesome.
got all we got all the sizes. And so, yeah, I created this page over the past there was something I really wanted to do. Like, if y'all have ever talked to me, I really goobed it up a little bit because I was sitting there, I was like, "Man, I want merchandise." But I had, like, such a high standard for merchandise, I was like, "Ah, I don't know if this is gonna be perfect." And originally, I had to cross that hurdle and be like, "You know what? We need to get it out there and create these awesome T-shirts, and then we can always build upon the platform later." But the brand I want to push further because I wanna create clothing that you're gonna be wearing to your next house party. So check it
Hell yeah.
out. There's
Hell yeah.
lots
They
of
got a
different shirts.
Mustachos t-shirt. They got a Goobz mug. They got this squirrel sticker for your laptop. Man, these things are awesome. All
Yeah,
right,
click on
Eric.
so if you click on that's actually a collection page. So when you click on the T-shirt, it'll bring you to the other 5, like the full page, and it has the scientists in there, the Mustachos, the Goobs, the party beers, everything's in there.
Awesome. Awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming on to Goobz Radio. That was Erick White, ladies and gentlemen. This is MC Ricky Ticky. We are going to take a 5-minute musical break, and we'll come back with the giveaways. We're going to have 3 games over here. We got 2 beers to give away, and we got some Pigo Goobz NFT artwork that we're going to be giving away too. So stay tuned. Thank you, Erick White. Thank you, and thank you also to Jacob Tucker for coming on the Goobz Radio today. Y'all have a good one. Until then. Erick.
Yeah, what's up?
It was on fire, man.
It
I love
was.
that interview. Bringing the technical art questions. Trying to throw you off your game, man.
You can try. You can try. And sometimes it'll work because I do goob shit up sometimes. But that's the part of life, right? Just here to have fun.
Hell yeah. Yo, I'm sitting in an alleyway in the back of Niedervan in this country town out here in Germany. Literally just chilling out here. Went to the school, and I went to the school to set up shop over there. I opened the door the first time because I always come there and check because it's like 7:30 on a Saturday. And doors opened up, so I came back to the car, got my stuff, went back in there, and the doors are locked. And then I went to the coffee shop right before the party, and they closed down their hotspot at 6 o'clock. So that was shot. So then we just went over here to the back streets of Niedervan and sat in the car today. So, dude, awesome. Thank you so much, Erick, for having the party goobers and the party mansion really come and throw this party. It's been such an honor to talk to Jacob Tucker and to Erick White, and I really appreciate Erick for everything he does for the community, and I get to see him put in the work, and he cares so much, and you could just see it in his eyes when he's sitting behind the computer, how he gets in there and does everything he needs to do so that you guys have a party to come to whenever you guys need it. And of course, chat rooms on the party mansion are always open, and there's always people just having a good time. And if y'all want to join along with that during the week, of course, we're going to be here on Discord all week, all day, every day. GMs on Twitter. If you see a GM on Twitter, GM back. This is Goobz Radio. We are going to the Synth-Wave music.
right, all right. 1 second, everyone. I know I'm talking over the radio. Cold Corona. That's the name. One word, Cold Corona. That's the code to the float.
We'll hop into our party games over here. Right now we on the party chat thread. I got the first challenge of the night is gonna be called speed typing. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna drop a comma separated list of 10 items, and you, as honestly as possible, do not copy and paste this and put it in the thing. Rather, type it out with commas and spaces and spelling counts. And the first person to drop it in the chat, spelled out correctly, is gonna win a beer. So I'm gonna drop this list in the chat right meow, and y'all are good to go. Please do not copy and paste. I realize it's very tempting here. Just type that bad boy out. Let's see. Oh, we got one person right here. TW Durian, Ale, Whiskey. Gotcha. Oh, looks like we got a winner. Last wanker spoken dot find. We got Eric hopping in there. Oh, lit, coming in a little bit late. We got last wanker spoken coming in first. Thank you so much for playing that, and fantastic job there. Wanker. I think that's a British thing, ain't it? I never said that stuff.
And you never heard nobody referred to as a wanker?
Nah, man.
Fucking wanker.
I mean, in the movies, they had that English accent.
I say it like I know too. I saw it in the shows.
Needs to be used much more here in the States.
Right? You ain't in the States. Britain's like a stone throw from you. Oh, you talking about Last Wanker.
I would never, I never walk around and think I need to use the word wanker. It's like, it seems so grotesque coming from the American tongue.
Fucking wanker. It's a good insult though when you think about it. Like,
Yeah.
I never really contemplated the depth of that insult until I was watching Ted Lasso. And I'm watching this and they were going through the definition of like, oh man, that's a pretty good insult then.
Oh man, I got the next game right in front of me. It's going to be a Twitter race. So there's about to be a post on Twitter from the Party Goobz page here in about a minute or so. And there's another riddle over there on the Twitter. Just hop over there, solve the riddle, and post it as a comment. And first one in gets the win. Again, we're not going to copy and paste, all right? So there is a possibility for copy and pasting here. I'm telling you how to cheat before you get going.
I know. I'm like, why are you even sharing this valuable information? Now
because somebody's going to think about it. Somebody's going to think about it. We got to keep this a fair fight. And this is good. So this one's going to take you back to math class. Going to take you back to like, I don't know. When do you learn about math in high school? Does anybody pay attention in math high school class? Or was that just me that never paid attention?
Dude, I don't know. I'm buying this Goob right now off the marketplace. I've actually had them on my I've had them on my eye for a long time, and I'm just pulling the trigger now.
Hell yeah! Are you gonna try to catch up to Larka?
Request error. An error occurred when interacting with the Access API. Oh no! Is he not available? I think he might be a ghost. Damn, sucked.
Oh, Goobz just posted a new tweet. Twitter race is on. Write the irrational number pi, 3.14 whatever, to the first 15 places after the decimal. First one with the correct answer in the comment wins.
How the fuck are we not supposed to copy paste that? Seriously.
Hey. You gotta switch their tabs.
I'm gonna copy paste the first 15 letters. I'm with Wanker. Math ain't real.
Oh man. Let me see if anybody's on Twitter already.
Oh, man,
this Goob page is like crushed with notifications. If you do GM post all Goob pictures as GM comments will get retweeted. Everybody, I love the Goobz, so dude, any Goob I see up on Twitter is getting retweeted. 100%. Tag the Goobz, it's all getting retweeted. Lit is the best. Lit always comes through with his Goobz, and it's like, definitely appreciate that, man. Love seeing those Goobz you drop.
There's so many. Oh, this one's good too. I'm just browsing the marketplace right now for Goobz. I know I shouldn't be buying any, but I think I want one.
Math isn't real.
You live a dream.
You can do it. I like this one. Waterboy is still one of my all-time favorites. let's see here. Still got nobody coming up with the answer on Twitter.
Because we're not allowed to copy paste. What the fuck you think I'm gonna do? I'm messing with you so hard.
Math is not real. I love it. 1 + 1 is not 2. That's hard math. I did try to teach my daughter calculus. I think she could learn it like in 3 days. That's what the spring break is for. You know the kids have spring break this week? Or whatever the hell
Yeah,
break.
coming up.
Yeah, like on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
They're already talking to me about how lazy they want to be. Hell no.
I know. My wife says I'm not allowed to smoke and do lectures anymore, though.
Lectures? Oh, I don't like to talk. I don't like to talk when I'm smoking, to the kids especially.
Dude, I'll smoke and straight up give my daughter some philosophical life question and explain to her the differences of, I don't know, X, Y, Z. And my wife just rolls her eyes.
The women, they're usually pretty, they're keen, man. But, you know, they don't have everything that the dads have to offer.
Exactly. Us dads, we bring that heat sometime.
Yo, I'm just like, y'all I tell my kids, like, y'all setting your standards way too low. We need to bring those up about 8 notches. Like at 7 in the morning, I tell my kids that. Oh, man.
Yeah, exactly. Always. Push the boundaries. You know, I know you're smarter than this.
Hell yeah. Man.
I'm writing a quick announcement. Because
Oh, we got somebody. We got Sniper, 2 minutes, 1 minute. 2 minutes ago would have been the first one. Look, this dude just dropped a gift. All right, 3.14159. That's 5. 26535897993. Whew, buddy. You are a brave soul. That's Sniper for you right there. I'm going to assume that's correct because it took him like 5 minutes to type that in. But I'm going to run over here to Mr. Google and plop this in. I'm assuming this is correct. Innocent until proven guilty here. Let's plug this in and see what it gives me. Pi 3.14159 26535897993. Beautiful. 3, 5. Oh Lord.
I kind of want to go through this.
8, 10, 10. All right. Well, Sniper is definitely that, a sniper. He sniped out these numbers right here, and he's on the board for the second beer.
Boom. I want to say he copy pasted that shit, but I'm not gonna be that guy.
Nah, I'm not gonna say that, dude. It took like 5 minutes, man.
It did.
2
I bet he
minutes
actually did it.
Hell yeah, 6 minutes ago, and this is 21:45. 4 minutes ago, so it took him 2 minutes, and I was just lollygagging on the thing.
Right.
Hell yeah. What's he got here? A picture. Oh, he's a math genius. Definitely is a math genius. Love it.
Dude.
All right, let's see what the last math genius is. We got one more for you, and again, we're going math.
Math. All this math.
Puzzles. Dude,
How does that
puzzles
work?
in the chat. You just kind of like think of numbers and then add other numbers to them. All right.
That's overwhelming.
The winner of this,
already.
though, gets the Pigo NFT, the Pigo and the Goobz NFT. Can you drop that real quick, Eric? Drop that NFT.
No. You just put me on the spot. What
I mean,
the fuck
drop
am I
it.
supposed to do?
Drop a picture of it. Don't you have a
Oh.
screenshot of it?
Of course I do. I'm pulling your leg.
Ah,
But
you're yanking my chain.
I am, but go ahead and give me a lot of time because I gotta find it.
Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna throw the games in the chat while he's loading it up. Oh, there we go. Beautiful, beautiful pig-o. All right, so you're about to get
shit.
4 numbers,
He did. That
and
was even it.
they are all part of a numerical pattern. Hold on, I have to think here. Somehow I can't type out this pattern and think at the same and speak at the same time. Let's see here.
It's all right. There's a lot of activities I can't do simultaneously with speaking.
Oh, buddy. Hold on, let me do the math here to make sure we're right. Okay, we look like we're good to go. All right, so this is a 10-number pattern. There are 4 numbers in there. The first person who in the chat completes the 10-number pattern wins the Pigos and Party Goobz NFT. Adding, ready, set, go.
If I win, do I get to just keep that NFT?
Dude, it's a fair fight right here. Come on, Sniper. Come on, Math Genius. This is a fair fight, Eric. Try to beat Sniper. But the last wanker, well, he said math isn't real. Uh-oh.
Wait, 936, 81, 900. That's a multiple of 10. That's a multiple of 4. That's a multiple of 4. 81 would be a multiple of 9.
Wheels are turning.
Wait, is 324 right? Lit drop?
Well, there's still other numbers, not just 324.
I knew that. Like, I was testing you to make sure that you knew your math problem.
Oh, dude, I wrote down the answers beforehand because holy hell, I was trying to figure out this list by hand.
It's the one day Ricky's like pitching me this idea. He's like, all right, I got this clue for the contest. I was like, Ricky, you understand we're Goobz, right? Like, what kind of question is this? Like, how am I supposed to answer this? And he's like, what? You're not just trying to do calculus midday on a Wednesday? No, dude. Like, give me some easier fucking problems.
I remember on my 25th birthday, I woke up, went to the kitchen, there was a table in there, poured myself a bowl of cereal, and did calculus on my 25th birthday in the morning.
It's respectable. On my 25th birthday, I was pretty sure I was cheating on my calculus test. I was looking at my wife, her screen. We're at LSU doing a math test, and she's doing the math test next to me, and I'm like looking over at her computer screen, like, yeah, I got this. Oh man. Math was never one of my strong suits.
Dude, the second I just decided one day I was going to go to mechanical engineering school, like after the Army. So, dude, I left the Army. I didn't even have a spot in the school. And I was like, fuck it. I'm still going to get in. I just told myself that. And even though I wasn't in, and I started studying math on my own and fucking just went from algebra to calculus in, I think it was like 6 weeks, but no teachers, nothing. And then I started at the engineering school. And the second semester was Calculus 3 and differential equations. I didn't even go to class. I would just go to the library and read the book, and then I took the test and still aced it.
Dude, that is what's up. And very impressive, too.
That's how we do it, man. Hell yeah.
I got up to business calculus for my degree, and I did all right. I mean, it was okay. I could comprehend it because I think we had like one big problem. But I didn't really go that in depth with it. So, yeah, I don't know. I like thinking more. I tend to have like a more philosophical mindset where I like to argue ideas and whatnot. and then create. And when it comes to like math related issues, I tend to like struggle because it's almost like confining, because math is based on rule sets and you have to always follow the rules, and my whole persona is breaking rules. And so like I'd always just struggle anytime I was put into a box where I only had to follow the rules.
Oh man. All right. I hear you, man. I hear you. I liked math because you didn't. Oh. The last wanker spoken. Let's look. We got 144. That's a check. We got 225. That's a check. 324. 441. 586. 729. 900. That's close. I want to say that we get a double check on that 586.
Fudge.
That was
He just straight up
fire,
said
man.
fudge.
Ooh. What is 24 squared? What is 24 squared? That is the question of the day, the question of the hour, 576. We have a winner, the last wanker spoken. Find. Let's hook this dude up with a Pigos and Party Goobz NFT. Erick, thank you for hosting this party. We are getting into the chats now. Stay live. The music is going to stay bumping. The music will stay pumping. It is the Party Mansion. You have been listening to Goobz Radio. Enjoy our evening.